Hi everyone, in this video I want to talk about some of the powers that you get as you evolve, as you go through all these traumatic experiences in life, deal with many mental health conditions. You end up with these powers, okay, that you can use for the greater good of humanity and the greater good of yourself. Now, what I mean by power is that it's not so much a supernatural power that you get, okay, because a lot of that is nonsense, which took me years to learn. Because I used to go out there and I used to think, well, I can take this mediumship course, then I'll be able to read people's minds, I'll be able to get the dead to come through, give them names, etc. But after years and years of doing this, I started to realise that it was all a trick of the mind. And some of you might disagree with that, and if you've had different experiences to me, that's fair enough, okay? But to me, in my experience, I realised that the specific laws in this universe that cannot be broken, especially in this reality here that we're here to evolve and learn about ourselves. So what I mean by powers is not so much supernatural powers. And the reason that I know this now is because I realised that a lot of these so-called powers that people try and get goes against one of the main laws of the universe, which is the law of least resistance. Now, I'll give you an example of this. So let's say you want to become psychic, okay? Now, if you sit with someone and you believe that you can read their mind, this is actually short-circuiting the universal law of the least resistance. And the reason it's doing this is because if you want to read someone's mind, okay, the least resistant way of doing this is to ask them what they're thinking. Do you see what I mean here, guys? So if you try and tell them what they're thinking without asking them, that's actually going to short circuit the law of least resistance, and it doesn't work, you see, because everything flows like water and it works with the law of least resistance. This is why everything has its purpose and nothing happens by chance. It's all flowing like water, and every action has an exact and opposite reaction. So a lot of these spiritual kind of gurus who claim to teach things like this, I realized are basically not real. Okay, you might disagree with this. If you do, that's fine. This is just my experience, guys. But what I mean by the power that you get as you progress up the spiritual levels of awareness is you kind of start to know how all these laws work, so you can use these laws in a positive way to enhance your life and enhance the life of others around you, which ultimately leads to love, which I'll get to in a moment. So as you progress through these levels of awareness, the more trauma you go through, okay, the more power you get. Because one of the laws in this universe is that the more pain we go through, the more gain we get. It's the same when we try and build the physical body up, when we do weight training, things like that. Without any pain, there is no gain. Okay, so somebody who's born in this reality or chooses to come to this reality to experience themselves with a very easy life, okay, they don't have much trauma when they're children, they don't have many issues they have to deal with regarding money and all these physical things that we have to go through before we reach this non-duality stage. If you're like that, you're not going to kind of get these powers, you see, because these powers lead to love and appreciation. Now, you cannot love or appreciate something in this reality without losing it first. Okay, you have to see the difference. You have to go through this positive and negative polarity of having it then losing it before you can bring yourself into the center and choosing that you want to appreciate it, you see. So appreciation comes with very harsh experiences, okay? Appreciation comes with mental health trauma, losing things, okay? Loss is a big thing. When you lose someone you love in your life and you go through the dark night of the soul, this is one of the biggest lessons in this reality, and it's one of the hardest, which I've been through myself. And this can last from 1 year up to 10 years for some people, okay? But how long it lasts depends on how much mental ability you have based on your previous experiences to get through that and start moving on with your life and starting to create new chapters in your life. And then when you do this and you finally get over the dark night of the soul, your life becomes better and you kind of excel into this amazing, happy reality that you've always dreamed of without the ego, you see, because what the dark night of the soul is when all your egoic actions catch up to you, okay? It's like karma. Again, every action has an exact opposite reaction. If you've been like kind of a bad person, you haven't showed enough love, you've kind of had arguments with people in the past because of your ego, that all eventually catches up to you. And everything you're doing that isn't love, it'll come and hit you hard, and that's the dark night of the soul. So once you're through this dark night of the soul, that's when you learn how to bring yourself into the center point, which is the power, okay? And when you bring yourself into this center point where you realize there is no good or bad, okay? Everything just is. And when you realize that, you realize every good and bad has a good and bad to it. So you kind of realize that there is no good and bad, and there is at the same time, you see. This is non-duality awareness. So when you realize that, you can then bring yourself into this state of being where you realize if something that you once thought of negative happens, then you can realize, well, that's happening for a specific reason, okay? Because everything has its place in time and space, because everything flows like water, you see. This is when you get into this allowance, okay? You just allow everything to happen to you, and you realize everything that does happen to you is happening to you for a specific reason, so you can get to a specific place. And that place you eventually get to when you reach this level of awareness is love. Okay, you eventually get to love. And this is why gurus like Jesus, who were the real gurus at the time, taught love, because he knew that love was the center point, and love creates the reality that everybody truly is without the ego. Now, I'm not saying the ego is a bad thing. I've said this on previous videos. The ego is actually a good thing, because we're here to experience the ego, okay? So that we can go through all the egoic processes and the law of karma to give us all these harsh experiences until we realize who we truly are. And what we truly are is love. And when you reach that point, this is when everything starts to flow like water. Everything that you've ever wanted comes into your life, because you can come from that center point and you can choose, okay? You can literally choose very easily what you want to experience in life, okay? And this is when you can go out and all the things you used to do when you were a child, when everything was new and amazing, it becomes like that again. So you kind of become born again with this kind of what's known as enlightenment in the spiritual communities. But you can only do this via all the experience and getting through the ego, overcoming the ego, and then coming to the center point. You'll realize non-duality awareness, and then the center point is love, and everything that happens around that is love as well. Because I've said this in previous videos, guys, the only reason people do negative things or say negative things or cause harm in the world is because of love as well. Okay, they do that because of love, because they have a problem with something, and they love themselves so much they don't want that problem to affect them, so they deal with it in any way they can, which then creates a negative cycle, which eventually comes back and hits them, and then they go through serious pain in the soul, and then because of that pain, they realize what they really want in life and how they really want to be, which is love. Okay, so everything leads to love, because love is all there is, you see. So a lot of people think that the physical world is an illusion, okay? It's an illusion of consciousness, just so we can find our true selves, which is love. Now, this makes sense in a way, okay, when you look at the scientific studies of like the double slit experiment, things like that, where whatever we're not looking at is a wave and it turns to a particle when we observe it. I do think this might be right, okay, guys? There's no way of us knowing in this day and age, okay? In the future, we might find it out, but I don't know if it's even possible. But what I do know is, based on all my experiences, that nothing happens by chance in this reality. In this reality, we grow and we evolve and we find love, okay? And I think that's what we're here for, guys. So it's just a quick video just to explain these powers, and they're not the powers that people think. They're not supernatural powers that you get when you evolve. It's just powers of how everything works, the wisdom you get from all the negative experiences you've had to deal with. And wisdom, knowledge is power, and the more power you have, the more choice you have to choose love, because love is all there is, and you realize once you choose love and once you choose to love yourself, that's when you'll become the true person you are, and you've learned everything you need to learn in this reality. And even the love never ends, okay? Because the more love you give, the more love you get back, and it just gets better and better and better. So the evolution cycle never ends, guys, in my opinion. So that's it, guys. What do you think? Leave your comments. I'll be back soon with another video. Have a nice day, guys. Love you all. Bye bye.